Hello and welcome to Spicy Toast Gaming and our walkthrough of the Galio adventure with Annie. This is a accompaniment to our Annie guide video, so I would recommend going and watching that first. I'll have that linked in the description for you, but this will just be a walkthrough to kind of show you how you can use Annie to go through the highest adventures in the game. Alright, we got one of the good powers. Our created cards cost one less. That is perfect. That's going to make it so our Guile that we use, that we get from our rank 2 power, will be free. Alright, our mulligan isn't as difficult since our Annie is over level 20, and this is the first adventure or first round, so we know we are going to draw her since she is the only champion in the deck. So there she is. And you can see our Guile is discounted because of the power we picked up. Since it's created, it is 0 cost. Alright, I'm going to attack so that they will hopefully block. Perfect. As Annie, I always try to make sure they have no units on the board if possible. Annie, we're using, as I showed in the guide video, Archangels, Ludens, and Banshee's Veil. So here's one of the things you can always do with your stun. If they have an ephemeral unit, you can just use your stun on it, and that essentially counts as just killing it because it will die at the end of the round. Alright, I'm going to play the Prefect so we can start stacking. Also, if you don't know the Dauntless Vanguard, if one of our units dies, they will summon a Dauntless Vanguard, which is that. So the whole point of this fight is you don't want to die or have any of your units die. Alright, we're going to stun this so that we can have our Spell Slinger kill it.
Already?
Not exactly. Get him.
I'm going to use Death's Hand to kill this, Nexus damage, and get another unit. Oh, and it spawned a Thorn of the Rose, which gave us another Guile, which is perfect. And he's already leveled.
I want to play a game of hide and burn! You can do better than that.
Then we can do another Spell Slinger and kill their other unit.
It's Kythera, Annie. Hey, Tibbers.
Alright, so we can just attack and win. And we didn't lose a single unit.
Come on, is that all you got? Let's go make some more friends!
So normally I always try to just add an item onto one of my units. So since there's 3 items, instead of adding 2 new cards, I'd rather just add an item and some extra copies of that card. Even if I don't like that card, it makes it easier to be able to cut them all at once if I want to do that. I'm going with Poppy here. I like the items better. And then also they're cheap, so they're going to be easier to play And then Poppy can just be really strong sometimes. So normally I don't actually head towards spell chests because it's just adding more cards to your deck and kind of diluting it. But with Annie, having some more spells can actually be very nice because sometimes you get really lucky and that spell can help you carry the entire game. Also, if you haven't played Galio, every time they attack, they reduce the cost of their crown guard. So essentially, you want to make sure they can never attack. We had bad luck and didn't get Annie. I was just double checking to see if Annie's level up was playing the spells by themselves or if Annie actually had to see it. So the reason I'm doing this is to make sure they can't attack. And as you see, I played the slow spell first. You do that so that you can play your fast speed spells. If you'd play one of these first, then you couldn't play your slow. Also, you have to play these spells in this order. You have to have the disintegrate. You have to play it second, but that way it hits first. And then also by doing this, I knew I'd have enough mana to play Annie.
I'll write my own story. Come out, wherever you are.
So that's unfortunate they were still able to attack, but we have a unit to kill it. Alright, we'll play Poppy first, since she's going to refill the mana. Mana Soul Student is pretty great. It essentially is a better City Breaker. So I'm not stunning the Grizzled Ranger because I'm hopefully going to be able to kill it, but we'll see.
I don't say this often, but don't be a hero. Hip hip! I've got a new tactic. Hammer! Oh, I want to play. Yeah, an even bigger weapon. No backing down.
Dash at him.
It's going to kill Poppy, but that's fine. We have another Poppy right there.
We protect these woods as they protect us.
We're just going to stun the Ranger so he can't attack twice. And we will win next round just because of our students, so we're just going to try to delay them as much as possible.
It's Kythera, Annie. Hey, Tibbers.
First the smoke, then the fire, then the timbers!
Get him.
Needs a finishing touch.
Gonna get bit.
So we'll just play the stun from next round, and that will win us the game. It's one of the great things with Annie. You have many different ways you can win. Quite often you can just get one or two of those Mana Soul students out and just let them chip away at the Nexus. Alright, let's see if we got lucky with a good spell. Oh, that's a good reward. This one's amazing. It's a little expensive, but it does so much damage, especially since we have Annie. Just trying to cut away any cards that don't fit our game plan. So these captive graybacks are pretty good, but you normally don't want them in your opening hand. You usually want to have lower level cards and try to mulligan for Annie. We're able to draw her, perfect.
Come out, wherever you are. Oh, I wanna play.
So the reason I'm attacking, I want them to block with Zoe, so I can try to kill it. Since they're blocking, they likely have one or more in their hand, but that's fine. Just want to try to kill all of their Zoes as soon as possible.
Explosives primed.
And if I waited and attacked with the Legion Saboteur, they potentially could have buffed their Zoe to the point where the Saboteur couldn't kill her. Alright, just trying to get the Mana Soul student out as fast as possible.
Okay, that sounds like fun.
Alright, just gonna try to kill Zoe again. Alright, they're running out of cards, so that's good. Again, we're going to play Poppy first, since we can play her for free, essentially.
Breathe in, breathe out.
I just know the hero's around here somewhere.
Just want to get rid of that spell shield.
Where there's fire, there's shivers!
That's so cool.
Alright, so there's some of these you could let them sit back, but it's not really needed. I will hold the Mana Soul since the Stellar Corn could actually kill it.
They wanna play in the fire.
Lord knows, Sparklefly.
Alright, we're going to get rid of the elusive unit.
It all falls down. Fly away.
We'll just win next round with the Mana Soul student again.
I can,
And that's one boss down. 2 more to go.
Let's go make some more friends.
Very nice, being able to always have Annie first turn. So yeah, I will go with the armed gearhead since they will get very big because of their augment. Gonna go here, I want to be able to cut more cards. You don't really need to worry about the mulligan too much anymore, especially if you have cards you like. It's fine since Annie will be drawn first round.
Today, base camp. Tomorrow, the summit.
So I'm just going to play this immediately so he can't attack.
Come out, wherever you are.
No one's the wiser.
See, normally it does 1 damage to all enemies, and then again. But because we have Annie, it's going to do 5 damage twice, which will be insane. Really just want to get that spell shield down. Because if I attack with Annie, now he can't block.
Explosive prime.
Try to keep up.
Lovely. Very neat.
Boom.
Another obstacle.
And I'll just use the disintegrate to kill him.
I want to play a game of hide and burn. It all falls down.
Hope this one gets discounted.
Lovely. Very neat.
Looking into the future, I see purple.
So again, if you don't know what this power is, the enemy summons a Targon's Peak.
Requires concentration.
What that does, it reduces a random card in all players' hands to 0.
See? This is progress.
Again, you just have so much control with Annie. The enemy can't really do anything. With one ability, we just cleared their board. And then when they play something else, we can just stun it so it can't do anything. We could open attack, but you know what? Let's just win with Mana Soul Student since
That sounds like fun.
he's been putting in work.
I can, help.
Doesn't matter that he's stunned, he can still do his ability.
Did you like that, Tibbers? Wasn't it fun?
Yeah, it's why I like Annie most. Other champions are all about buffing their units and making their units just massive. Raven's Flock is always a good pick, since you're going to be stunning people all the time, and it's going to do so much damage with Annie's buff. But yeah, with Annie, you're not worried about buffing up your units, you're just using your spells and abilities to absolutely destroy the enemy. Yeah, we'll get rid of the Yordle. Yeah, this one's decent enough. Yeah, we'll head towards the Smooth Soloist. Hopefully she has some good powers for us. The ability is that they summon a Fleet Feather tracker whenever they get the attack token, which is this. We're getting rid of Annie since we know we're going to draw her, which is one thing you always want to do if you have that item. You want to re-roll on the mulligan just so you can get an extra card, essentially.
Come on, Tibbers. It's playtime.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Alright, we're not going to bother stunning since we want to try to kill it. Perfect, our Mana Soul student. However, that's a little scary. You always want to protect Annie, and these are challenger units. I think I'll just kill it outright. Could kill it, but I want to get the Mana Soul student out. And the Gearhead, it's nice to have them, but
Wanna play with Tibbers?
they're not that valuable.
That sounds like fun.
Oh, great. Nice.
Alright, we have so much removal now with our Ravenous Flossing Death's Hand. Play Annie for free.
All right, team. Adventure time.
See? It's just progress.
Where there's fire, there's Tibbers.
You know what, I think I'm going to use... Yeah, I'll use this to kill it.
It's Mr. Kythero. Kai.
It's Kythera, Annie. Hey, Tibbers.
Then we'll use this to kill that one. And that to kill that. That way we should have a clear board, so we can just attack and destroy the Nexus. Perfect.
Plug and play.
It's almost time. We got this.
As you can see, Annie doesn't really
On to the next.
struggle with just about any of the matches. She can pretty easily destroy every single opponent. be adding more copies of this to my hand. Alright, being able to attack every round would be nice. Although there's a debate to be had for the other ones. The Prefect, it can work out well, but it honestly just seems like a worse version of the Mana Soul Student. Yeah, you almost never want to mulligan your Mana Soul Student. Great, we have 2 of them, that's perfect. And again, we're going to do what I almost always do to Ephemeral, is just stun them so they can't attack, and that means they're essentially dead.
Dodge this.
Also, when you're playing against Viego, you want to kill this unit whenever he plays it. This Camavorian soldier, because they have that mana gem. You want to make sure that they're not getting that extra mana, because if they do, they can play Viego next turn. Although they actually maybe just nerfed Viego. I think he was 5 mana before, he's 6 mana now.
Try to keep up.
Yeah, the special ability for this match is whenever your unit dies, or the strongest unit that died each round gets played by the enemy. Alright, we're gonna stun this first, so we can get both these actions out on our first turn. He'll probably block the Annie, but there's not much you can do.
Where there's fire, there's shivers!
Care for a taste?
Also, that's how you want to beat Viego. You want to try to beat him as fast as possible, because once he gets higher in mana, he just starts pulling out some pretty random bullshit, to be honest. Like that.
Donnie, wanna play with Tippers?
Okay, that sounds like fun.
It's almost time.
Cool. Spell Embers.
Alright, and that is boss 2 down. Only 1 left. And Viego is generally more of a pain in the ass than Galio. And I'm always choosing Annie just because I want to be able to draw her more and more. So none of these, you definitely don't want this Radiant plate because you want to be able to have her cost as little as possible. So this is more of a backup. If we don't get Annie on our first turn, then we're still going to have the same effect of having our mana drawn, or if she gets killed. And then also the first round when we draw her, excuse me, the first round that we draw her, we'll have that full mana for that round as well. So it's not as necessary since we're using Archangels with Annie, but it is still nice to have and is also a decent backup plan just in case something happens to Annie.
Approaching the battlefront.
Alright, so we're going to start out with a stun just so it doesn't attack before we play Annie.
New recruit reporting in. Let's go make some friends, Tibbers.
So I was going to use this since I now have Annie out, and it does one more damage to kill the defender. Well,
Try to keep up.
we'll attack first and see if they actually block.
Whoa! Hey!
Alright, so they're now damaged, so we can kill it with the Ravenous Flock, then kill the others with the Death's Hand. Again, it's always a good idea to try to clear the enemy's board.
I gladly serve.
So unless I can go directly for the kill and destroy it this round, I'll normally focus on clearing the board and doing chip damage when I can.
Okay, that sounds like fun.
That being said, I think I'd rather just stun this one for now and get more damage just straight on their Nexus.
Very neat. Where there's fire, there's shivers.
Because the only unit that could kill that would be Annie. I don't want that killing one of my other units right now. So that one will stay around until next turn, which isn't great, but we got a lot of damage on the Nexus.
I've trained my whole life for this.
So they might attack, but we want to get the other student out so we can
Okay, that sounds like fun.
use our Guile to trigger both. You know, we will just attack, since that will trigger both of their abilities anyways.
Help. You would test my steel?
Let's go make some more friends.
And as you can probably see, I'm not particularly trying overly hard. You do have to pay somewhat attention with Annie, but you've probably noticed things that I could do better. And that's kind of the great thing about Annie, is she's so strong that it's not like you have to play her perfectly. Alright, House Spider doesn't really do anything, so we'll just cut that. So this would have been decent for Poppy, but honestly, as you're seeing, we're not really even playing Poppy much. this could be very fun. And that's the thing I love with Annie is just being able to use spells to such a greater extent than any other deck. So the special thing for this round is just they summon 2 Dawn Speakers. And what the Dawn Speakers do is if one of their units dies, they buff everyone else.
Let's go make some friends, Tippers.
Upgrade. Nice.
Be strong. These are dark times. Unleash new potential.
Well, that's very helpful.
I'm actually here.
That just gave everyone elusive because of one of the powers we got, the sharing is caring.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Lovely. Very neat.
Behind ya.
So the one issue is they will be able to have a good amount of their board, and their board is going to get buffed next round. And since we're elusive, they can't even
Our
block,
allies did not fall in vain.
but that should be fine.
I'll do my best.
That is not fine.
One
So this is why you
armor
always have to be careful of Challenger.
There's magic, and then there's me.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll get rid of that spell shield.
I do.
Be strong. These are dark times.
Try to keep up.
We can still attack with all of our elusives. Having rally every round is one of the strongest. So we'll place some of these graybacks.
Upgrade. Nice.
I want to learn. Behind ya.
Quit your yapping.
So if we would have just drawn our 1/7 cost spell, we could have easily cleared that board. But as you can see, it didn't even matter in the end. Alright, so here is the Spell Slinger. Decent card, and I have many copies of them, but isn't really that helpful. We rarely use it, but the reason I got all these items is so now I can cut all of it from my deck. It's nice to have less than 30 cards if you can.
Time to make an impact.
And that's just so that you can always be sure you're drawing the cards you need. Because some rounds you just go and you never never draw the card you want, and it can really be a pain. So the way Galio works is he always has support champions, and they're normally Senna or Shyvana. So it kind of changes how the fight will play
Long
out.
road behind, long road ahead.
So we're going to play Annie so we get one more damage on our Death's Hand so we can take her out. Alright, we'll stun.
Upgrade. Nice.
So we'll just add a couple more copies of Annie to our deck with the Parade Electro Rig. Also, one thing that happens is if they ever get over 20 health, then Galio will automatically be summoned. So you definitely want to try to remove their units as much as possible. Oh, I could have played the Legion Saboteur there.
Donnie, wanna play with Tipper?
Okay, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I think I'll just
Cool. Spell Ember.
heavily damage it. And now all my units have elusive.
I wanna play.
So I was hoping that I would be able to get the Hound to block
Burn me.
and kind of chunk him down, potentially kill him, but a lot of damage to the Nexus is good too.
Hide and burn.
Plan on having the Rocket Barrage just destroy them next turn anyways, so it doesn't matter that we're not killing them. Unless they do that.
You can't outrun me.
I can, help.
And that's how you defeat Galio with Annie. So as you can see, we essentially never came close to even losing a round. Annie has such a massive amount of control and damage that even the hardest encounters in the game are trivial with her.
Let's go make some more.
Now my Annie is just about fully leveled up. And so she has all the advantages she could have, but she's definitely very strong. All of that juicy XP. Alright, so that is how you can beat the hardest encounters with Annie. Hope you learned something. If you like this, please give a like and a subscribe to the channel, and pay attention for more upcoming videos. Have a great one.